and welcome to my channel. To all that are new here, welcome. To all my new subscribers, thank you for joining me on my journey. Tonight I want to talk about the Real Housewives of Atlanta saga. It's going on and on and on. Well, y'all, last week, as y'all know, that episode was bananas, okay? And Kenya, if sabotage was a person, if self-sabotage was a person, her face would be right there. I don't even know what Kenya was thinking, but this was her grand reopening of her hair spa. And where whoever her event planner was who helped her lay that out, I mean, the colors were beautiful. The layout was beautiful. She had a tribute to Bronner Brothers with the big hairdos and everything made of hair. I mean, it was different. They had a contest of which one was better. I mean, it was laid out. She had security. Only people that were allowed in were people with wristbands. I mean, she had it down to the nines. And if she had left it just like that and showcased her business that she used Brooklyn's college money for, I think she would have made by now some of that money back because people would be going in there in droves. People would have been going, I mean, such clientele would have just gone just to say, I've been to Kenya's hair care spa. But the way she chose to end it left a nasty taste in people's mouths. And I don't even know if anybody would want to even deal with her anymore. Because right after that, after she did that stunt, retailers started taking her stuff off the shelves. They don't even want to do business with her anymore. She's taking a hit. She was in CVS and different stores like that on the shelves. That's a big accomplishment for a Black entrepreneur. She messed that up. All because of some chick that came for her. Clearly, if she had read it right, she was pressed to be accepted by her. And from day one, Kenya gave her dust. And Britt could feel that. Britt could feel that. I saw it. It started in the first episode at Shamia's birthday party. And it built from there. It just kept building. It just kept building. It just kept building. And I know at Shamia's birthday party, she made it like it was about a ring, but it wasn't about the ring because I saw when it happened. And if you go back and take a look, tell me if I'm wrong. Kenya came over to the ladies, and that's when they had kind of surrounded. This is before Britt had said anything crazy about you're getting a divorce, you're getting a divorce, you're getting a divorce. Before she even said that, I think when she came over and said, hi. That's all it was. And I'm sure Kenya knew who she was already because of some other background information we've received. Okay. So Kelly introduced herself. She was like, hi, Kelly. Kelly and Kenya. La, 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 la. But there's no background there. She knew who Britt was. That's why she was paying her dust. Because she's friends with someone named Ming Lee, in which Ming Lee and Britt have bad blood. I don't know if it's over a dude. Supposedly they both dated Rick Ross. I don't know if it was over Rick Ross. I don't know. But they had bad blood. Plus, Kenya's friend Ming Lee was also vying for a peach on the show. And Britt got it. So there's some underlying things there. If that happens to be true, Kenya didn't see it for Britt. And even though she wasn't really nasty to her, I saw it. That's Britt's demeanor. I mean, that's Kenya's demeanor. She's a mean girl. Now, mind you, she was a little laid back, and I kind of liked her demeanor. this season for the 5 episodes she was on there because she was just laid back and she just kept the storylines along. She kept them getting along or whatever. But it was the time when she paid Britt dust. She came down there and she spoke and she's like, "Hi, I'm Britt." And I think she had some, she was excited. And Kenya was like, "Hi, where is Shamia? Where's the birthday girl?" And when she did that, Britt was like, "I saw it." It was like a split second, but if you wasn't watching, you'd miss it. Cause after she said, she was like, "Hi." And then she said, "Where's the birthday girl?" Because she didn't want to engage in any other conversation, but that's what she was doing. And then that same night, if you remember, here comes Britt. "Kenya, you didn't give me the proper hug like you gave everybody else." And Kenya's like, "Well, who else did I hug? You talking about Drew? You talking about Cynthia? Cynthia's my best friend. I mean, you didn't give me a hug." She wanted to be acknowledged by Kenya, and Kenya wasn't doing it. Now, she did kind of hit it off with Kelly, but she didn't hug Kelly either. She just says, "Hey, Kelly, Kenya," because of the K. She just was making, light of their names, but it wasn't anything to it, you know? Anyway, so that's where I feel like it started. And then at the dinner, of course, the hug came back into play again because she gave her a little church hug, patting her or whatever. But she gave Kenya a pat back. She says, "Kenya, that's not a real hug. Girl, what is your problem?" What is up with you and these hugs? You want a hug? You need a hug. So it was something that was festering. And she said she made it seem like every time Kenya saw her, she didn't really treat her right. What do you want Kenya to do? Like I said, there was some underlying things that they kind of felt like were going on. And I believe Britt was reading more into it than what she had to. That's what I think. My personal opinion. I don't know. I wasn't there. But what I could see on video, that's what it looked like. So there's that. I tried to go over in my mind over and over and over again, like who is really to blame for this? And there's only one person that I can blame for that fiasco at Kenya's hair spa. And I thought about it. I said, well, had Angela not wrote that question, maybe it wouldn't have sparked off. Or hadn't Britt Beulah, whatever I call her, Britannica, had she not been so thirsty, maybe it wouldn't have sparked off. But I can't blame anybody but Kenya. It goes back to Kenya because Kenya did not have to carry it like that. She didn't have to sabotage her own reopening. She did not. She did not have to even go there. But she did. And it's unfortunate. Because as a result of all of that, showing the explicit pictures of her doing oral and all that kind of stuff. Mind you, Britt wasn't even there to humiliate. She came in, she just gave her a peace offer, some flowers and a card. Kenya was real nasty about that. She was like, "Give that to a homeless person outside. I don't want them." Kelly said, "Wait a minute, let me take the card back." She was like, "Kelly, no, burn the card." She said, it's stay out of it. She was nasty. Then when she showed the poster boards of her doing, sexual things, Shamia was like, "You've gone too far." She was like, "B." She called her a B. First of all, she called Shamia out of her name. She don't tell me what's too far. She's threatening pistols and whips. I feel like Kenya took it too far, but she always takes things to hell. She does it all the time. After that aired, Bravo put up a black screen. They said because of due to these events that happened or transpired at the hair Kenya Spa's hair care, they decided no longer to film with Kenya for the rest of the season. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if she's fired. I don't know if that means she's suspended. I don't know if that means she'll come back for the reunion. I don't know. I'm assuming she'll come back for the reunion. I hope she comes back for the reunion because I feel like that's when she does her best work. But we won't know. But the day after, Andy goes on his podcast, and he's on this podcast with 2 other people, and they talk about it. And let me let you hear what they said. Okay.
Shit. And she was like, yeah, you're right, whatever. She shows up to Kenya's opening of her gorgeous salon, which is beautiful, that Kenya has worked so hard on, that she dedicated to her daughter. And it's this big event, opening it with all these people there. And Britt comes in and brings her flowers and says, I want to apologize to you, and a note. And Kenya totally ignores her, like totally. And Britt's like, okay, I'm just going to leave these here. And Britt leaves. And then Kenya gets up and makes her whole opening about someone came after me and they shouldn't have. And I started looking into who this woman is, and this is who she is. And she starts showing pictures of her.
With like poster board that she printed
out. And this is like
one of the pictures is
revenge
her.
Porn type.
Yes.
Okay.
One of the pictures is her.
Like, oral sexing.
Yeah. And so, and the Atlanta Housewives are like, we're out. We don't want any. The place like clears out.
Yeah.
And then there's and Cynthia said, in all my time at the show, this is the lowest I've ever seen anything get. And so that's what, and then there's a slide at the end of the show that says, Bravo, stop filming with Kenya after this.
Well, they say like, there's all this talk of, after the Me Too movement, it's like if you show someone a dick pic or a nude pic without them saying, yes, I would like to see that right now, that's like sexual assault.
Yes, Jordan?
Well, I was going to say, the bad part of it and the sad part of it was that, like you said, it was Kenya's opening of her store that she's worked so hard for, and that it's been Kenya Moore hair care for years. Yes. And it was like a big moment for her.
Why
and
did she do that?
She should have been celebrating herself, but instead she used the time to like do revenge porn and bring somebody else down. And at the end of the day, it was such a bad look for Kenya.
Yeah, why would
she do that? And she sabotaged herself and her business.
Yeah. What was she thinking?
Jody from Minneapolis, what did you think?
Yay, hi. Also, I'm just so proud of Bravo and how they handled it, and all the housewives that left after Kenya showed it. It was so trashy, and it was so negative and ugly, and I don't know, I think a few years ago, not all the wives would have left after that, but I'm really proud that they all left. And, Britt making that comment about the guns and whips, I don't know, I didn't feel like it was totally like, I'm going to go kill you, Kenya. I think it was just her talking smack, and oh my gosh, Kenya just took it way too far.
Yes. What happened is that Britt made a comment at the end of.
So I don't know if I agree with that last lady. I feel like if someone makes a comment like that, you shouldn't take it lightly, because you never know where people are. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, so Kenya heard this and went to town. This is it a little bigger, and she says the two co-hosts are extremely ignorant. S assault is RAPE. Remember, that's what Phaedra accused Candy of attempting to do to Portia. Revenge P? If someone showed Kim K's S tape to you, is that revenge P? I found that plus tons others online. She signed a release for it, so it's fair that she's got receipt. Warning. If you are not an attorney and familiar with Georgia law, then shut the F up. Sick of the bias and selective outrage. These comments should not have aired. It's a podcast. Where is legal? You don't want activated, Kenya. Ooh, that sounds like a threat. Settle down, Kenya. I shouldn't have shown at my event. But for the love of God, why would they ignore a clear GUN threat? I don't know if it was clear, but it was something, and it should have been addressed. That's where I'm at with it. I feel like Britt should have been disciplined some kind of way, maybe suspended off of 1 or 2 episodes, or production could have said, well, if you don't feel comfortable, we'll make sure that she doesn't film with you anymore throughout the season. Like, that would have been on her, because that would have killed her for real, because not killed her, but you know what I'm saying? She would have really struggled with that, because her whole aim was to be seen by Kenya, and for her not to be able to film with her or be in her presence, that might have did more to her than the whole look at what she did. How, come on, get out of here. Anyway. Okay, so she is saying, Portia is saying that there's a housewife that's still on the show that gave Portia the pictures. So Kenya comes to the YouTube streets or to the internet webs And she says, absolutely. No one on the show gave me anything. Stop using my situation for clickbait. And so Portia goes back and says, that's a lie. We talked day and night, and I personally went to the network production and fought for you before you showed before you showed her underage explicit pics. I also went after as well because I was hurt you had to leave. I checked on you because I cared and care. I'm not your enemy. So supposedly these pics when Edie was underage. Why were they on the internet? That's child P, ain't it? Oh Lord, I hope that's not it. Oh my goodness. Well, anyway, that's probably part of the reason why they said no, we can't do this because you didn't vet what you had. Supposedly, production had no idea what she was about to do. Maybe they knew she was going to do something, but they didn't know all the particulars of what she wanted to do. Supposedly, nobody knew this except for whoever provided her with these pictures. Kenya has been advertising she's going to go in confession in her own words. So everybody's trying to monetize off of this. They might as well while it's the talking point of the town. So Kenya, in her own words, is coming to YouTube on next Tuesday. And by that time, everybody else been told a story. So well, I guess we'll listen. I'll tune in and see what she has to say. Kenya's still a mean girl to me, but I don't know. For some reason, I feel like Bravo didn't handle this right on either side. Kenya should have been dealt with like she did, like they did, and something should have happened to Britt as well. She shouldn't have got off, and I feel like she kind of evaded this whole ordeal because I guess she came in so remorseful, brought flowers and everything. But Kenya, pride, they're too prideful.
I did something that I wish I could take back, but what she did was a million times worse. So there's no way you could go around and play the victim now.
So this is your first season, of course, as a housewife. Was it what you were expecting it to be? I know that's kind of a loaded question, but we're going to start
so
there.
loaded. You know what? I feel like this has been a interesting first season. It was definitely some things that I did not expect to happen. But outside of that, I had a great season outside of that. Yeah. I mean, I knew there was going to be some challenges and just, some difficult moments, but I've tried to push through the best that I could. I mean, I did some things myself that, of course, I'm going to.
So this is Britt Edie. She's on the Housewife Nightcap. And she gives her rendition on how she feels and how things could have went, coulda, shoulda, woulda went. She says she was actually up for moving forward, but she says she can't be the only one wanting to move forward. She doesn't feel like Kenya's receptive to moving forward, and she's not. She's not. So she's good. But let's listen to a little bit of it.
To take accountability for that, I should have done. But outside of that, I really had an opportunity to really get to know the ladies. We had some good times. We had fun. We cried. We laughed. And we were at each other's throats as well. So we got a little bit of everything.
Yeah, this is the scene where she went to hell with it. Due to the graphic nature of these photographs, Bravo has chosen not to exhibit them.
Crazy.
You left.
Yeah.
Before this went down. So what was your reaction when you found out what happened?
I couldn't believe it because I came in there wanting to be apologetic and give her flowers. And I gave her a nice card where I wanted her to read it. And I left. And just to know that everybody started screaming and I heard the commotion of everybody like running out of the door. And I'm like, what's happening? What's happening? And Kelly was just like, you'll never believe this woman put poster boards of the most nastiest, vile things ever. I mean, she came from my marriage. She called me, all types of very nasty names. And she showed explicit photos. This was your big moment. So for her to use this big moment to attack.
And everybody was so turned off. They just rolled out. That's what I'm saying. This didn't have to go this way. But I'm not really shocked. Kenya's a mean girl. She's a mean girl.
Attack me, and to humiliate me. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I was in bed for days. I cried. I had to talk to a few, just, I had to go to therapy. And just knowing that the internet, the world, my reputation, I'm a businesswoman. So seeing all these things online.
Can somebody tell me what her business is? Because I thought she was in insurance, but she sold the company. So what does she do? Tell me what a man does. Anybody know? Can you leave it in the comments below? Thank you.
It overshadowed everything. And I couldn't believe it.
Have you talked to Kenya since?
She has not reached out to me. Actually, she blocked me. So I would have thought at the very least she would have shown some remorse, or at least, even if it wasn't a public apology to me, I thought she would have at least reached out just to show that, she's sorry. And I haven't received anything.
If you could talk to her, like, what would you say? What would, on your side of things? Because you said you were remorseful about bringing up the pistol of it all and all that.
I should have never done that. And I make mistakes. I was in a moment, I was triggered, and I did something that I wish I could take back. But what she did was a million times worse. So there's no way you can go around and play the victim now.
I think both of them are playing victim. Granted, I can't say that Britt should say that what Kenya did was a million times worse. Was it? Maybe. They both should have been dealt with, point blank period. Kenya, I feel like I expected more from her because she's an OG. She should know how to act. This was her place of business. I just don't understand why she did that. And I don't think she understood it either. But it did show her taking liquid courage in the back. So she kept taking shots. So maybe she was inebriated. I don't know.
And I would think that if we want to move forward, come to me, apologize, humble yourself, and I would be open. But that has not taken place. So I'm just disappointed how she's been handling it and being a victim. And, it's just been a lot of noise. And that's why I've been quiet, because sometimes you just have to wait it out and see what people naturally do. And I'm just disappointed in her behavior. And even just, she went on different shows. I apologize, but I'm the one that's owed the apology, not everyone else. And the things that she said, it's there forever. And I have to live with that, with my family, with my husband, with my career. And I think at the very least, I'm owed an apology.
It's no secret then that she left the show. So how did that change for you going forward? How did the dynamic shift?
Well, according to the ladies, ain't none of them feeling her right about that except for Portia. And that ain't saying a lot. Because Portia will switch up on it because Portia not feeling Drew. She not feeling Shamia. So I guess Kelly's thrown in there too. Shamia's not feeling her because she must have said something about her daughter. Kelly's not feeling her, and I guess I want to say she addresses whatever her and Kelly go through. I think it's coming up. Let's see what she says.
Well, I was a little disappointed in some of the ladies, and I thought they would have my back more. I thought they would be more supportive. And I just feel that because she has been around for so long, I think nobody wanted to just step on any toes or just, not have her back. And wrong is wrong. And a lot of these beautiful women, they have a family. And I'm just like, how would you feel if you were put in the situation that I was put in? And that's when I'm just like, let's use logic. Nobody would want to go through what I experienced. And I'm so grateful that I was not in that room when that happened, because that would have been a moment where she was looking to trigger me and she was looking for me to act out. She was not threatened by me, because you don't do something like that if you're threatened. So for her to do that, it was all premeditated. She had no.
I agree with Beulah on here. She's sounding like she's got some sense. Somebody's been talking to her. But yeah, she wasn't afraid of her. So if she was concerned of any pow pows and whips, then she would have made sure the security stopped her at the door. She wouldn't have been allowed in. The only thing is she let her come on her own accord, which she knew she was going to do because she knew she wanted the airtime. So her thing is, I didn't invite her, no, but I didn't disinvite her either. So she was probably praying that she would come so she could roll out that fiasco presentation of nothing that got her absolutely nothing. And I want to ask her, now, was all that worth it, Kenya? You're off the show and Britta's still on there talking about you, getting paid. Just saying.
She was never interested in making things right. She wanted to embarrass me. She wanted to humiliate me. And this was her big moment. So why would you do this at your big moment for someone that you're threatened by? Why? Why would you do that?
Did some of the other ladies though rally around you? Because I know, like in that
You know what,
moment,
Kelly
Okay.
rallied. She left. All the ladies were disappointed. I mean, a couple of them stood back. Maybe Drew and I think Angela. No, she did come, but they knew it was wrong. But I felt that they still wanted to support her, and that's what I didn't like. Sometimes you have to stand on business and say, this isn't right, and hold your friends accountable. If someone is really, truly your friend, they're going to tell you when you're wrong, not sugarcoat it, not pretend like it's okay or she deserved it. No, wrong is wrong. And that's why I was disappointed with some of the ladies that they were just like, well, no, you couldn't imagine being put in that position. And that's why I was just a little hurt by the ladies. And it was a very emotional time for me when I needed everyone's support. And I'm grateful that in that time, Kelly was there for me. Cynthia had my back. Portia.
So the ladies, I don't know if they are rallying behind her now. Maybe in the beginning they did, but they say Britta's a trip and we just have to wait and see. So there's that. Plus, she's just hanging with Portia. So keep away from your man if he got some change. That's all I got to say. Anyway, so I'm not going to go into that. Y'all can go out. She's all true tea. You can listen to the rest of her comments. But yeah, let's watch and see where this goes. I want to say Nene has also come out now and broken her silence. I will talk about that tomorrow. So I want to thank everyone for stopping by the Marita Minutes. Again, thank you for my new subscribers and welcome aboard. And with that being said, everyone be blessed. Peace.